Good evening, Town of Southbridge, a joint protection of person and property subcommittee, town council meeting, agenda, Tuesday, November 26, 2024, 7 p.m. Veteran Room. Call to order. Roll call. Let's see.
You want me to read it?
Councilor Ortiz, not here. Councilor Riva.
Here, present.
Citizen members, Adam.
Here.
Citizen member La Rochelle.
Present.
We have a poll. Review discussed a police department request to approve in an amount up to $7,500 to cover the cost associated with dental rehabilitation for a retired police officer, original injury on duty that occurred on 8/21/1989. Entertain a motion to recommend the town council for approval.
So, second it.
Chief?
Through you, Mr. Chair, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me tonight. Officer Roser, as most of the people in this room know, retired several years ago. Back in August of 1988, there was a bar fight he was dispatched to when he was working the overnight shift. The person he was wrestling with headbutted him, knocked all his teeth out. It was approved back in '88 as an injured on duty claim, obviously. When he got all the teeth replaced, the doctor put a note in his file saying that in about 30 years you need to have those replaced. This isn't a permanent fix, but 30 years certainly seemed like a long time ago back in 1988. Anyway, fast forward to December of 2015. Officer Rosa came to see me. He said that he didn't have the work done yet. He was trying to get it done. I was the acting chief at the time. I brought it to the indemnification board, which was the town manager, myself, an attorney, and a doctor at the time. We unanimously voted to pass this as an injured on duty claim. The only caveat to it was one of the board members wanted Officer Rosa to get a quote before the work was done, because we didn't want an open-ended quote to do dental work, because who knows how much that could end up being. Fast forward a year, so that was December 2015. June of 2015, Officer Rosa, now retired, comes back to me with a quote. The quote, I believe, was for $6,100 to have the work done. Back in June of 2016, we vote as a board unanimously to approve up to $7,500 worth of work. That's 2016. Now I'm the permanent chief. I forget about this, move on, don't think about this again. Officer Rosa calls me a couple weeks ago, says that he was gonna get this work done now. 8 years later, he's finally, he's retired, he's doing this thing, and now he has the time in the off season to get the teeth replaced. Can I do it? I said, hold on, let me bring it back to the council. Subcommittee first, then the council, make sure it's approved, and we're good to go. I searched through minutes. I thought this was done in June of 2016. Well, I know it was done in 2016 at the indemnification board level. The problem is, I don't know if I brought it to council, and I should have, but again, it's 8 years ago. I thought I did, and I looked through all the minutes. I had the clerk help me look through the minutes. We could not find where this was approved by council, so here I am today. Same recommendation. The quote he got a couple of years ago was, again, $6,100. I think we'd still be good with the $7,500 marker at this point in time, and I request that this be done. Again, 34-year employee, and this was a legitimate complaint or injury that happened on duty. There's no disputing that. So I recommend that we support it.
Town manager?
He gave all the information.
Council Marquetti?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for you. I certainly have no problem supporting this. I think it's a really a decent and the right thing to do. But in 2022, I brought forward a person who had retired from the fire department who also had an injury on the job, IOD. And he tried to go back to work, but because of his injury, he could not come back to work at the fire station, Mr. Lamica. And at the time, it was shot down. A lot of the counselors at the time said, if we do this for one person, we're gonna have to do this for all. The town manager at the time, Mr. Michael McCall, he said it was a town employee bylaw that once the employee is retired, we don't cover them for certain things anymore. And one of them was dental. I don't have a problem with this, but I just would like to, an answer as to why Mr. Lamica could not get the same consideration when he was asking for some help with his, he's taking some medicine because of the injury he received on the job.
I believe the two cases are distinct in one manner, that the indemnification board at the time voted that town council, this should go to town council to be paid through that board. I'd have to research going back when it came to that issue, that came to council when I was chairman. I believe it was, they wanted us to accept a provision in state law, if I remember correctly. So they wanted, to accept the state law, not specific to just his claim, but I'd have to research that more. I believe that was the issue at the time. Don't correct, I believe that's what it was. And that would open up the town to the other claims, but I'd have to research that further. But this is what's on the table right now. I'd gladly research it, but on the table right now is Mr. Rose's injury.
All set?
I'm good, thank you.
Councilor Sheehan?
I think the difference between this and Lamica is that the indemnification board voted this authorization prior to him retiring.
They did.
As part of it, so, and then it never, council never acted on it. That's the difference between Lamica's case and this case, is the fact that this was approved before he retired. And the town never fulfilled that obligation. And I think that's the difference, because it's no difference in me. I went out on an injury on duty. When I left the job, my insurance company assumed the responsibility of my injury, and not the town. But this, and in this case, because I look for the same thing, to get some relief. But the difference in this case is the fact that Officer Rosa got this approved prior to retiring, and the town never acted on it. And that's not at his fault.
Councilor Lozey?
I agree with Councilor Sheehan. I'm going to be supporting this. It's like a prior year bill that didn't get paid. Not quite the same, but it's just like it. Where it's been approved, it's okayed, it's going up to shoot, and never gets past the manager. And I think now that it's coming in front of the council, Officer Rosa, I mean, it's been approved already by the indemnification board. I think we just got to move it forward and take care of the bill.
Mr. LaRochelle?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with both speakers, previous speakers. This work was done, it was job related. Like some of the work, it has a longevity. The paperwork is all in the, we have all the paperwork, the indemnification board and everything else, and I think it's two different cases, and we should move forward and take care of this incident, this case.
Thank you. Councilor Lee?
Yeah, I tend to agree that this is what's before us. I'm just curious, are we comfortable that it's, because the quote is from 2022, that it's not gonna be more than the 75?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I spoke with Officer Rosa, and he feels okay with it, so.
I mean, the approval was up to 7,500 at that time, so even if you come up and say 10,000 is only approved 75, he's only gonna get 75, I think. Because that, at that time, you guys approved it was 75, correct?
Right.
Councilor Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Actually, Councilor Rivas just asked the question I was going to ask, pretty much. But I think this is the right thing to do, but I am concerned about the cost. I mean, we approved $7,500 going on 10 years ago, or the indemnification board did anyway. And so we're, fast forward with inflation and everything. I know my dental bills have gone up, way up. So I just want to make sure that we're going to take care of this person the right way.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, we have a quote from March of 2022 that was 6,100, so it's 2 years ago, going on 3, so I'm hoping, again, that it comes in under that 7,500, but I don't know how we would do it anyway, because the original approval was 70, up to 75, like you said, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Real quick to the chief, you may have mentioned this. Is there a time period in which he needs to have this work done? As this was done 16 and then 22, and then is there a time of which we expect this to be completed so it doesn't come back maybe 5 years from now when none of us are here at all?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I did speak with Officer Roser, and he assured me it would be done in 2025 and no later. And I trust that in his word. In the past, he had never given me a time frame when we spoke in 15 and 16, but now he's saying it is getting done. So I believe that.
Thank you, sir. That's all I got.
Question, Chief, where are we getting the money from?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I will review it with the treasurer collector because it will either come out of one of our insurance accounts or.
So you're gonna work on it
Yeah.
to go through the... Okay, I think Officer Roser is one of the best officer. I mean, most of them, they're good, but the best officer in town. I know him personally for 26 years, and he deserves all the best. I think we should fix his teeth and keep his beautiful smile because he's always smiling. So I'm gonna support that one too. Thank you. Roll call. Councilor Rivas.
Yes.
Roll call, or would you say,
All those in favor?
all in favor? Well, all in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Review and discuss the town manager appointment of Michael Pietrowicz, I don't know if I say it right, as an interior dynamic wiring inspector for the town of Southbridge, effect immediately, based up the Director of Inspection recommendation pending successful completion of all on-board requirement. Entertain a motion to recommend the town council for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So, our longtime wire inspector is set to retire on December 20th. So we're in need of bringing somebody on board now so that we can, oh, I'm sorry.
I'll just make, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right.
Yeah. So our longtime wire inspector, Mr. Gibson, is retiring as of December 20th. So we're looking to bring on an interim right now as we evaluate different funding mechanism. We've had this conversation about, the salary for a wire inspector, the amount of work that goes into a wire inspector. So this would be an interim one. Right now, we have solicited applications for a replacement, whether this individual would like to do that or other individuals. I do believe that our assistant wire inspector is also planning on stepping down because he indicated when Bill retires, he was retiring. So at this point, we would be looking for at least the interim wire inspector as well as a assistant wire inspector as well. And I'll defer to Ted because he knows this individual, if I may.
Good.
Mike Petrovich and I have worked together for 4 years at Webster. He's an outstanding electrical inspector, by the book, no BS, and he's a very personable person. You can talk to him. He will correct you. He will tell you what you need to correct. He will tell you how to fix it. He's one of the better ones that I've ever seen besides Bill. Bill actually likes him. He's one of Bill's friends, and Bill asked him to take his position when he retired. And I just happened to be in the position where I could try and make that happen. And he has, I myself, as a building official, when I was with Webster, I let the inspector choose his replacement or his assistant. Bill has no problem. Mike, it's great there, and I allow Mike to choose his assistant to kind of fit. I did review some of the applications that we did have. Weren't that impressed. I mean, one was young, one was very young. The other one, unfortunately, I just didn't see the correct attitude with people, which is what you need. You need to have that you have to be able to talk to somebody. And if you can't, well, it's not going to really work. You're going to have a problem. I've had it before. I'm not really looking for it again. So I asked Mike to to apply for the job, and he's more than happy to come aboard.
Thank you. Councilor Rose?
He's applying for the interim job, will he be applying for the full-time job?
Yes.
Okay, because as far as the hiring process, who hires and who confirms, the charter will control out the manager and the council with you, as the department has recommending authority, but, okay, if he's, I just wanted to know if he's gonna be applying. Thanks.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Thank you very much.
Agenda number 5, review, discuss the town manager appointment of Timothy Harold of Auburn, Mass. as a full-time firefighter for the town of Southbridge, based up the fire chief recommendation, up successful completed of all medical and physical testing included, past and state physical assessment, test, PAT, background check, and state attic training. Entertain a motion to vote to recommend to town council for confirmation.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you're aware, we have several openings on the Southbridge Fire Department. One of the first appointment would be to replace firefighter John Matthew, who retired. So John has been off the books, so the first appointment would be for his position. The second appointment that we have before you tonight is to replace a firefighter that left, I believe, for the Providence, Rhode Island Fire Department, and he is no longer with us as of the 24th of this month. And the third appointment would be a potential appointment or an appointment to replace retiring Captain Jeff Matthew, who's planning on going in March. So we're anticipating that retirement, and based on the list that we have established, that the town council has established, the town council had established and was performed, well, through the fire chief, the process of how we fill positions within the fire department, a testing, interview, assessments, and then a ranking of candidates. So we're very fortunate that we actually have candidates that want to come to the town of Southbridge. As you're aware, the town of Southbridge Fire Department is very, very busy, along with other fire departments in the area that are looking for firefighters and or paramedics. It's a challenge to recruit right now. Our neighboring towns have had recruitments out there for a long period of time, so we're very fortunate to have candidates to put up in front of you. Unfortunately, I was unable to conduct the interviews with these candidates because, as you're aware, I was ill and in the hospital, but we wanted the interviews to go forward. So Michelle, as acting in my capacity as town manager during that period of time, did sit in on those interviews and provided quite a bit of feedback on all three candidates, and felt strongly that these candidates would succeed. She does have a fire background herself, so she is familiar with firefighting and the like. So we're very, those are my recommendations for appointment. And we'll go through the first, and I'll let the chief introduce the first candidate.
Thank you, Chief.
So, good evening, everybody. Timothy is here. Oh, stay right up if you want. So Timothy, currently, he's our number one candidate on our list, so we're pushing him forward. As the town manager has said, he currently resides in Auburn, which is within our 15-mile requirements. He is currently a health and wellness coach in an industrial setting. Previously, he was an athletic trainer for Holy Cross, although I just found out tonight he's with WPI too, and a couple of the other colleges. So obviously, he has a degree from Salem State as an athletic trainer in kinesiology, and completed some training in the field of being a plumber too. I didn't realize that until going through your paperwork today. During the time at Holy Cross, he has encountered a significant number of athletic injuries, which sparked the interest in the need for him to move to an emergent type of scenario. This experience inspired him to explore other healthcare areas, which he did enroll in his EMT class, and he just passed this past June. During the hiring process, Tim did display a high degree of integrity, responsibility, and really, to be honest with you, with someone with not a lot of background in fire and EMS, he was very ambitious. Both candidates that are here tonight, very ambitious to become a firefighter in an EMT with our department. So obviously, upon completion of his employment process, he will start the department and review all the operations of the EMS department. I have already secured 2 dates for him to go to the fire academy in March. So we have 2 of our current employees, new employees, going in January to March, and then these 2 other guys, if everything goes through, will go from March to June. So these guys are gonna jump right into it, so they will be going through the 10-week academy. With that being said, I'd like to see if you guys would approve the appointment of Timothy Harold.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody? No? No?
I hope the town council moves forward with this on Monday night, and I wish you all the best.
All in favor? Call with the vote. Agenda 6. Discuss, review and discuss the town manager appointment of Colin Diesel of Charlton, Mass. as a full-time firefighter for the town of Southbridge. Based up the chief recommendation of successful completion of all medical and physical testing, included passing test, state physical assessment, test PAT background check, and state ARIC training. Entertain a motion to vote, recommend the town council for confirmation.
So moved.
Second.
Town manager again.
I explained the process. I'll defer Collins.
Chief?
So Colin is here. Where are Colin? Colin is over here. Colin resides in Charlton. He currently works full-time for Salisbury Construction, where he's a carpenter since 2022. He graduated from St. John's in Shrewsbury and has a criminal justice degree from UMass. The police chief's not here, so I can't throw that in his face. So welcome to the fireside. But anyways, during the interview process, again, Colin expressed a desire to become a firefighter and emergency medical technician. He did complete his EMT certification program this year. Obviously, the process is very similar to Timothy. He will also be enrolled in the fire recruit training class in March. So I would like to recommend Colin Diesel as the next candidate.
Anybody?
This I'd recommend, as far as the town council, to vote you forward on Monday night, and I wish you the best. Be safe out there, guys.
Thank you. Anybody else? All in favor? Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Agenda number 7, review, discuss the town manager appointment of Abby Lachmer of Hudsonboro, Texas, as a full-time firefighter for the town of Southbridge, based up the fire chief recommendation of successful completion of all medical and physical testing, included passing state physical assessment, test PAT background check, and state ARIC training. Entertain a motion to vote to recommend town council for confirmation.
So, second.
So, Mr. Chairman, this one is a little bit differently because the first 2 would be effective immediate upon the physical PAT, so that we could get them into the academy right now. This last appointment, obviously, this young woman lives in Texas. She did come up here twice for the testing as well as the interview process, and will be here on Monday night pending your confirmation to be introduced. So she would start in March. She currently has a residence in Texas that's under lease, I believe, and the reason why, if she wasn't leasing her apartment right now, she would come up immediately, which would be addition. She is a firefighter, certified firefighter, would not have to go to the academy. She's also a certified paramedic, which desperately need paramedic skills. She's looking to come up to this area, into our community in the area, and Michelle spoke very highly of this candidate as well, and I will defer to the chief for any further questions. But we recommend her because of her willingness to come and move to this area, and has the skills as a firefighter and paramedic that we need.
Thank you, town manager. Chief?
So Abby, like the town manager has said, she did come up here twice during our interview process. So she is not here tonight, obviously because of flights and the holiday. She will be here on Monday night. She does have her flight booked. But she is from Denison, Texas. She's on the Denison Fire Department. She's been there for since 2022. She previously was on the Howe Fire Rescue Department in 2018, where she got her firefighter 1 and 2 training along with her paramedic degree. She has an Associates of Arts degree from North Central Texas College. As we said, and Michelle sat in on this meeting with us, she definitely, proves to be a worthy candidate for us because she has her paramedic and she does have her firefighter 1, 2. If she lived in town currently, right now, she'd be the number one because she has that paramedic, and we've lost a few paramedics over the last year or so. So again, upon completion of her pre-employment process, she'll become, her start time, as long as she passes the pre-employment stuff, she could start as soon as Captain Matthew is off the books, and I believe that's the last week, I think it's the 29th of March. So she's got some hurdles to go through, and she needs to confirm her residency here before we move forward.
So, she's gonna move to the town of Southbridge?
She's gonna be able to move to Southbridge, yes.
To Southbridge? She promised to move to Southbridge?
I never got that confirmation from her.
Well, go ahead.
Mr. Larochelle.
Chief, I understand what the chairman's asking, but by contract, it has to be within the 15 miles. But my question is, has she already done the paperwork to switch her paramedic to Mass?
That is correct, she already has.
Okay, so that's, and then looking at what she's already certified in, we saved 10 weeks. My only concern would be that if, like you say, but I would wish to amend the motion, that not only successful completion of PAT and testing, but successful completion of complying with the contract that she lives within that 15 miles. Well, she secures residence within the 15 miles.
So you put including residents. Residents are required.
To comply with the collective bargaining agreement, like all the rest of them.
I'll second that.
You wanna talk? You wanna say anything?
No, well, if we're gonna follow up on that, maybe I'd say it's discussion
So
at
we're
this
gonna
point.
discuss
since I-
the
yeah,
motion right
second
now?
it, so there's a discussion.
Okay. But the thing is, you raised your hand first too. I'm just going by that.
Oh, no worries. I just seconded the amendment, so
Okay.
I get.
I'm not understanding the amendment. Hold on, explain it to me one more time. Because the contract automatically, you hire her,
But what
she's automatically under that contract.
she's not hired yet, like the chief says. The hiring is pending the PAT, pending
Background check.
the psychological exam. And I want to be able to get this legally correct, that it takes it off his back and puts the onus on her, that it's also pending her complying with the bargaining agreement before she gets hired. So that if something happens, there's no excuse that, I got a PO box and I'll live here as soon as I can. Everybody else is already complying with the bargaining agreement by living within that 15 miles.
Right, so if we
And this is
hire-
odd. This is odd because she
But
lives on the other side of the
minute-
country.
The minute we hire her and she becomes part of the unit under the contract, she doesn't have to live in Southbridge. 15-mile radius is the law.
Right.
And that's the way I thought that if you do hire her, when she hits the ground, automatically she has to go with the residency that's in the contract. Am I right in saying that, Chief?
Through the chair, you have 1 year to require a residency within the 15 miles, so you still do have 1 year.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, just if you don't mind me 1 second, I don't think she's gonna move here. She wants to move here, but obviously the job is what's on the table right now. I think, I don't wanna lose her, to be honest with you, and I had this conversation with the chairman today. She's a paramedic, she's a certified firefighter. She will be removed if she does not get her residency and pass her.
The thing is, you wanna take a chance on that.
And she's got until March.
She's got till March.
Okay. Chair done. Councilor Riva.
Since I worked with HR for a long time as a DEIA practitioner, I don't see why we would impose separate conditions. That is dangerous territory as far as liability, to impose different conditions. As long as the person is meeting the requirements under our charter and under the contract, I don't think we need to put other conditions that are different than other applicants. Again, as long as they're meeting the requirements that are in the charter, I don't think we need to add more obstacles for someone who is more qualified than the other candidates that we just voted on.
Okay. Thank
No
you.
offense.
Well, chat, thank you. Council Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. I agree with Councilor Rivas. I think the amendment's unnecessary. You have a contract in place. She will be required to obtain residence within a year. I think that's legally enforceable. If she doesn't acquire residence, then she'll be terminated. I think that's pretty simple.
Okay.
And again, I wouldn't apply any different standard to her that I would, somebody that was living in Boston.
Okay, thank you.
I'll defer to council.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, real quick, thank you, Town Manager. So I am in agreement with that. And not in agreement with forcing somebody to have to live in this location. I think that's completely off the base. She's got the 1 year to move it within it. Obviously, there's gotta be some type of requirement for her to be here, and what's that requirement? Since part of the contract says you have up to 1 year to move within that 15 mile, doesn't that open another door though?
No, you have to see, it's true.
Go ahead. If you,
To be
Mr. Chair,
honest
this
with
is
you,
the chief.
I don't know why we're discussing this. Why you reviewed her application from the beginning? She's not resident in 15 Mile. She's not resident in Massachusetts. She's not closer to any town. Why we either took her application, we don't look for somebody else already here, regardless what he qualify, we train him. I mean, we fighting on something that's far away. She have 1 year to move in here. She probably got the job, live in a hotel. A few months later, go move to a different department. We lose people living around here. They need the job. So I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna support that tonight.
Yeah,
Go
okay,
ahead.
but I still have the floor. So my question through you to the chief, would that open another door if you have 1 year to move within that 15 mile radius? Can they live in Cape Cod? Can she live in, Rhode Island somewhere? Outside? Or in Texas?
Obviously.
Through the chair, they have to have a residency within the 15 miles prior to the 1 year time. If not, they will be terminated. We've done it before. They are on probation for 1 year from the time of start.
So that's why so if I can continue, that's why I brought that up, especially when you said 1 year. And I'd rather talk about these other things after we finish this amendment up. But, my concern here is we've been burned like 3 times already. Not just with fire or whatever it may be, but other administrative jobs within the town of Southbridge. So, that's why I brought up I seconded the amendment, because I just wanted this discussion just to make sure we're covering everything that we're supposed to cover and then get back to the regular motion at hand.
So
Thank you,
we're still
Mr.
gonna talk about the emotion, or we're gonna pull it off the table?
Well, I seconded it, and we can vote on it, but it'll be up to the person that opened it up for the amendment to do.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Town Manager.
Well, first off, to respond to the fact of why would we interview somebody? Candidates from across the country apply for jobs all the time when they see a posting. And there could be a variety of reasons why she decided that Southbridge Fire Department looked like a good department for her to come to. There could be, friends that she has on the department that she's made acquaintances with. She may have trained. We have firefighters that go throughout the country that train in different locations. And a conversation, hey, we have an opening in the Northeast. Hey, look, I want to move to the Northeast. Why not interview and at least say, what was the cost for us to interview this individual and have them go through the program, right? She paid for her own flight. We didn't pay for her to fly up here, not once, but twice. So she's showing her desire to become a member of the Southbridge Fire Department, number one. So I'll just leave it at that. We take a look at, especially in this environment right now, where we're trying to recruit paramedics for towns that are at a premium. Every town around us is looking for firefighter paramedics. They are at a premium. So why not say, hey, individual, you want to come fly to Southbridge, Massachusetts because you're interested in a Southbridge Fire Department job? Thank you. Thank you for applying. Thank you for taking the initiative. Okay? I had a lot of angst about whether I would put this through right now or not, because she's on the list of the top 3 candidates. So at some point, based on the established criteria that this Southbridge Town Council put forward about how we rank candidates, that we give them an opportunity to have that next step. So we ranked her, she came into that top 3. And like the chief said, had she been currently a resident is here as a paramedic, I would put her first at the list. No reflection of the other 2 candidates, but we look at experience as well. I need a firefighter paramedic to go out that door that day. She's the one that said, hey, look, I have a lease. I really want to move to this area. And whether it's Southbridge or not, I don't know. But I want to come to the area. That's why I put it here. And she has a lease, and she says, I need to notify my landlord of breaking a lease so I don't lose enough money. If you have an opportunity in March, I want to come here in March. So that's why we were just saying, let's secure the person and give her an offer of employment to say, hey, get your stuff in order. You have an offer of employment so I don't lose you, right? If the council chooses that they don't want to put this candidate forward, that's the choice of the council. And there's other departments here that she may go to because they look for paramedics. But this candidate was highly qualified, wants to move to the area, has met the criteria for Massachusetts paramedic, wants to be a member of the Subcmte Fire Department, and that's why I put her through. Thank you.
Mr. Town Manager, she have 4 months after Lieutenant Matthew or Jeff to retire. Why she don't promise to live in Southbridge and find an apartment from now till 4 months, and then we can consider if the contract, the union say you have to live in 15 miles, we can't enforce you to live closer. But the contract doesn't say we have to look for application. It's not either close. I don't know why she apply if she's not commit or she's not resident of 15 miles. These gentlemen, they live in Charlton, 15 miles from here. Why he reviewed the application, didn't review different application already qualified to be firefighter in the distant 15 miles? I don't get it.
We did review, we did review applications. There's other candidates on this. There's other list of candidates that were in the memo. Okay? We have an established criteria that the council put forward as to how we rank candidates. That's the process we're following. The process the council wanted, that was voted on.
Okay. Mr. Larsha.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My original intent of the motion was the checks and balances, which, thank you, Chief, I was unaware or forgot, because it's been a while since I've been under the contract, that they have 1 year and they're out. So as far as I'm concerned, the checks and balances are there, that if she doesn't seek the close residency, the town has the tools to handle the situation. So in that case, I will withdraw my motion. But the other thing I want to say is that
Hold on, you're gonna second the withdrawal?
I don't think I have to because he's withdrew his motion.
Right.
So we're not talking about that
It's over
motion
now.
right
We're no
now.
longer on the agenda.
the motion's gone.
So now we'll
because I
discuss back to
withdraw
the
it.
main
But the
agenda.
thing is that we have to be very careful, because the only thing that we can say is that that person lives within the 15 miles, which is a legal requirement. We cannot discriminate against somebody because they don't live in Southbridge. That's illegal. And looking at her qualifications, I agree with the town
But she
manager.
doesn't live in 15 miles right now.
She's not being hired right now.
We
It's-
voted
it's-
on it.
We're voting on a name coming up under conditions, but it doesn't start until March.
Okay.
And if she does not comply with the requirements, and correct me if I'm wrong, if she doesn't comply with these requirements by the start date, well, she's got 1 year for that. But if there's no motion, no show of motion to move here and everything like this, the chief can sure step up and, there's problems.
Thank you.
But we
What's that?
can't discriminate by
Yeah,
saying you
thank you.
can't live in South.
I got your, go ahead, Councilor Rizzo.
Even the insinuation that she should live in Southbridge when that is not a requirement is discriminatory. I mean, just the very fact that we're having this conversation on record is problematic right now.
Well, that's your opinion.
No,
I don't
that
think, I don't,
is, it's a problem.
okay, you make your view, we understand. Councilor
I
David first,
wasn't
outside.
finished.
I'll let the counselor go, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Okay,
Just wanna-
Chair Lazo first.
I don't think it's problematic to have the discussion. The contract is a contract. You can talk all you want at a board meeting. When that contract is voted and adopted by the town of Southbridge, it's 15 miles. It doesn't say Southbridge. So let's just straighten that out right now. It's 15 miles. That's the contract we all agreed on. The problem I'm having is the accommodations that we're making for an assumption that the captain is leaving 4 months from now. Well, why don't we appoint who's gonna retire next? We can get the next firefighter for the next position.
Thank you.
I gotta be honest with you. I would not vote for this when it comes in front of council until Captain Matthew retires and then fill the position. What if he changes his mind?
Maybe she changed her mind.
What if he says, I wanna stay on longer? The thing is, you're setting yourself up. I've never seen this before where we do it for so far ahead. It's something new. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm saying it's something new. We usually have vacancies, they retire, they leave. This gentleman applies, or a group of people apply. And I know everybody's been pushing for paramedic. Well, maybe we should downshift back to EMT a little bit to get some firefighters in. So maybe as a community, we have to look at it. But I gotta tell you, this is something new to me. And it's kind of strange. I'm not saying she's not qualified. I'm not saying she wouldn't get ratified if she was here applying like these two gentlemen. We've had people that had experience that we've turned down and went to other towns. So I gotta tell you, I don't know if I'm gonna be, I don't feel like I could support this because we're trying to predict the future. And the one thing that we don't do is we're not fortune tellers. You know, if we have people on the mark when Matthew leaves, then let's move forward on it. But you always have the list.
Thank you, Chair. Councilor Steve?
Thank you, Chairman. Through you. I think you've gone through your interview process. You've selected the top candidates. And I don't see that it's I don't think it's unusual or even appropriate to make an offer contingent on an opening. So, you obviously have a very highly qualified candidate here. You've interviewed that person. The person has expressed exceptional interest, I think, in the job, given that they spent their own dime to fly all the way back here from Texas. Both the town manager and the chief, who are in the best position to analyze their qualifications, have agreed that this person would be an asset to the town. I'd support it on that basis. I don't see any reason to say no on this. I would defer to the judgment of both the town council, the town manager and Chief Norman. They're best situated to analyze, since they've interviewed the person, and the chief, of course, knows the business. They're best suited to analyze this person's qualifications and whether or not they're suitable for the town. Personally, I believe when we go out when we hire people for the town, all right, that we go out, we hire the best qualified person. All right, we should always be looking for the best qualified person. All right, not just internally in Southbridge. We want to improve the town. We need to have good people to help us do that. So we should always be looking for the best qualified person. And since the town manager and the chief have determined that this person is best qualified for Southbridge, I'm willing to defer to that.
Thank you. Is no position open right now. And I don't know, maybe tomorrow or next month, somebody from the town of Southbridge qualify, have whatever we're looking for, he have everything we're looking for, and he want to apply. So we promise that person live in Texas 4 months, 5 months from now, and there's no position open, and we lock that position. So, Chief, when you retire, how many years left for you? So let's hire Chief now. Get him ready. I mean, we don't have a position open. Council Vivo.
I agree with Counselor Kelly that it's contingent upon the opening of the position. And also this person's come out here during this whole process, twice? That shows their interest in being a firefighter for our town. And on top of all that, we have a community that just went through a lot of different emergencies, and these are needs that our fire department has, right? We don't question the judgment when they're answering a ton of calls and taking care of fire victims that Councilor Shenier and I saw firsthand. And so I do think that we should trust the judgment of the town manager and the fire chief when they're talking about someone that has a good amount of
Nobody
qualifications.
questioned her qualification. The question is no position open right now. There's no position open, and she's not close to. It's 4 months. I mean,
Am I allowed to finish?
yeah, but it's 4 months from now to let you know.
Okay.
I don't know why you bring in Kennedy with no position open. Go ahead.
And, when we have the call volume that we do in this community, we see the posts on the fire department all the time. This is a need, and this is an overly qualified candidate, and I think that we should move forward and again, the contract, there are safeguards, as we've been told already.
Thank you. David.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, any mask requirements for her when she moves here? Any Massachusetts requirements for her to fulfill before starting on the job or while she's on the job?
So she has already gotten her Massachusetts paramedic license certificate to operate in the state. She went ahead and did that, filed all of that paperwork prior to her last meeting. She forwarded that stuff to us the last time around.
When it comes to the captain's position, that position itself, or the captain itself, has he already put the paperwork in to retire?
Yes.
All right. Is there a possibility to pull that retirement package back if they're?
I don't know the rules.
Okay, I'm just asking if he'd already dropped his package. So assuming that him and his wife already have plans on how they're gonna work it out. I don't see a problem with prior planning at this point. Operationally though, let's just say she does come out here, you hire her. Obviously, that's a good thing for the town as far as that's concerned. Let's just say February 28th comes around and she says, I'm done, I can't come over here, I appreciate it, chief, and all that kind of stuff. Operationally, what does that do to your one team or your department totally? And where you have to start all over again.
Yes.
We go to the next people.
But operation, how hard will that?
We have one more person on the list, that was it.
Okay, all right,
Not a paramedic.
okay. And the fact that she's come out here a couple of times, she's planning on coming out here Monday based on the recommendations of this subcommittee. Obviously, I think highly, this 1 hour distance concerns me, this 1 hour, or 1 year probationary period to move into Southbridge does concern me a little bit because we've been burned, like I said before. But it sounds like she's already changed everything over. No other jobs in other towns, applications or anything?
Through the chair, as far as I know, no, nothing.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Just for a comparison thought, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't a 40th position authorized in the police department so that he could anticipate keeping people on a...
That's absolutely correct. Unpaid in the budget.
Council Lala.
And it never gets filled. Correct?
Well, I could,
It's there for the training purposes.
to the council, or to the chair, the town council, I think it actually is being filled, but I can't be quoted on that because I don't have 4 stars on my shoulder.
It's always when the chief
Let
will
me
bring
just
people.
say, if I can, nothing to do with the 40th guy. We did it because it was such a revolving door in the police department. We wanted the 40th vacant position so we could constantly be working on training police officers. My thing here, this town has made some deals with employees that were supposed to get certain credentials. We had a town engineer that was supposed to get an engineering stamp. And she never got it, and she became the DPW director for a good many years. And she didn't fulfill those things. It's very common in town of Southbridge, our goodwill goes forward and says, you're gonna get the training, we're gonna fill this position, we want you to come here. For the record, I have nothing, I think she's fully qualified. My thing is, what we're really reaching from 4 months from now, that's the only thing, a lot can happen in 4 months. So for myself, that's what, are we setting ourselves up for a letdown? Could this go bad? We don't know. Do you want to take the chance? That's the question.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I respectfully request the withdrawal of this motion for this evening. I'll bring it back at another date. Further conversations with the individual, the candidate, to further vet it, and further qualifications with the captain to make sure that we are on stand. Our goal was to have a position filled, and anticipate an opening so that we would have somebody, a boot on the ground right away. But I understand where the direction this council's going right now. I'm not gonna have an individual fly out here from Texas on Monday night. So I know where it's going. So I respectfully ask that it be withdrawn and take no action at this time.
I respect that. Anybody else like to make any, Council Kelly?
I think that's a shame, frankly. All right, I think that's a shame. This is a highly qualified candidate. You know what, if I could
Can you
hire,
keep your voice down a little bit?
if I could hire in advance for the positions I know are coming up, all right, I would do it in a heartbeat. All right, I got a situation right now in my own office where I'm down 7 attorneys. All right, and I have to, we're backfilling these. All right, this is not unusual to offer a contingent, making a contingent offer when we know we're going to have an opening. This is a highly qualified candidate, you know, and I hope the heck we don't lose her as a result.
Can I make one comment, Mr. Chair, real quick before decision?
Go ahead.
I agree, Counselor. The fact is, now you set a precedence for the police department. That means they'll hire ahead, and what time frame would that be? So if that's the case here, then that has to apply to any other department within this town hall. So, within this town itself. I think it's a shame too, because she's got plane tickets out here ready to go on standby. And if the council turns around, and I'm just a subcommittee member, as a resident of this town, but she comes all the way out here, and I agree with the town manager, but it's a shame, comes all the way out here wanting to do this, has changed things over already and made all these other concessions before even coming to this subcommittee. I think it's a shame too. Just because it's not from Southbridge or anything like that, that's what held us back for so many years in this town too.
It's
Thank
nothing
you.
to do, it's not.
Chair,
from
I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
You're all
It's nothing to do with my turn now. It's nothing to do with not living in Southbridge. The police department always hire, qualify, living closely to the town, or whatever the requirement. Never hire somebody from Florida and get them prepared 5 months later. It's always that, and it's always do that. Go ahead, I don't know,
Yes,
can
they
you
did.
say your name, please?
194 President. Not for nothing, John Matthews still on the books until December 15th, so you're hiring a person ahead of time right now
All set?
for this position.
Go ahead.
With all due respect, this offer of employment to Abby is no different than the offer of employment to these two gentlemen, who, yes, their start date is maybe a month from now, but in that time frame, they could be offered a position at another department and leave just as easily. There's no difference between.
We have position open for them.
Technically,
December 15th.
Hold on, one by one.
technically, those members are still on the books, so they could withdraw their papers. Captain Matthew has voiced his intent to retire. He has submitted his paperwork. So the odds of him pulling his retirement are slim.
It's 3 weeks from now, and they live 15-mile distance from here.
It's-
Anybody
so
else?
it's the same.
Yes,
They
Mr.
can-
Go ahead.
I'm not permanently pulling this individual. I want to have a further conversation with this individual and with the chief to firm down the information. This appointment will come back because she is number 3 on our list. She is the next candidate on the list. So whether it is now or in February,
What do you like to do?
I'm saying because I get a sense of where it's going Monday night.
Correct. What do you like to do right now?
I'm postponing
Okay.
my appointment.
I'd like to
Excuse me, can I-
postpone the agenda
So I
number
can't
7.
talk.
All in favor?
There's no motion on the table.
There is no need for a motion, he pulled it,
I pulled it
his.
to the next,
Yeah, you just
next
pulled it.
meeting.
It is
no
adjournment
motion.
now.
So he's the town manager, he can pull it and put it.
He's
but
the
that-
one that brought it up, he can
Okay,
renege
so
it.
that now
Just
he's on the
like I did
table
with
and being
my
discussed.
It's off the table.
So it's all set.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?